Hi, Sure Star Goddess, I'm back. So I'm here to talk to you guys about make sure to do your research before starting any type of spell work or purchasing spell work, because a lot of people will do spells on other people or for certain things that they haven't fully researched or gotten all the information on. And by the time they receive what they want, or when they're starting to wait on the results of the spell, you know, the information comes out about a certain thing that will totally void the spell, or that will totally have a tremendous impact on the spell work. So, for example, if you're doing a love spell on someone and you don't know if they're with someone or not, if they're attached to someone, or if they're seeing someone, if they're married, if they're, just broken up with someone and they're not over them yet, if you don't know all of these details, that love spell is not going to work as good as it should or could. For example, if, let's just say, for example, if someone just broke up with their significant other and they're still not over that person, they might come to you or they might be interested in you, but their feelings are still attached to the other person, so they might go back and forth, so you might not get the results you had hoped for. Another thing is they could be with child. If they're, if a woman got pregnant, they could be with child and you don't know any of this because you don't really speak to the person that often, or you haven't spoken to them in a long time. You haven't researched like their Facebook page. You haven't talked to any of their friends, so you don't know. And surprise. Also, you might do a love spell on someone who really did you wrong, but you just want them back because you were so in love and that you just felt lost without this person. And then when they come back to you, when they start calling you again and coming back, you don't even want them anymore because you spent time without them and your self-esteem started going back up. You start meeting other people. You see that you can actually do better, and now this person is coming back because of the love spell you did, and now you're kind of in a predicament because you don't know whether you should go backwards or keep moving forward. And sometimes it's tough to forgive things in relationships even though you were so in love, so you kind of stuck. Also, like, if you're going to do, I know a lot of people ask for breakup spells, and you're going to do breakup spells, you got to make sure the people are not freshly in love, because I think I spoke about that already. The honeymoon phase, it takes a while to get out of, and then when reality sets in, then the spell work can work easier. Okay. Also, for money spells, if you're trying to do a money spell or have someone do a money spell for you and you have zero means or zero ways to create abundance for yourself, or zero ways for money to come to you, it's going to take a little longer. It's going to take more time. You know what I mean? So you have to keep that in mind as well. That's why before I do spell work, I always ask these questions. Are they attached? Do they have someone? Did they just break up? Do you have any types of way to make money? Are there any avenues that money is streaming into you? Blah, 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 blah. Because, if you do a money spell and you have no ways to making money, the only way you're going to get money is if you play the lottery, if someone gives you a gift, and if you find it. So, or if you if you find it. So if you're expecting like large sums of cash, then you need to play the lottery. Or if you're expecting money, you need to maybe ask, or you need to hang around people that have extra to offer. You know what I mean? You can't just sit in the same place and do the same exact thing you were doing when you weren't getting any money. Do you understand? Okay, so you just have to put yourself out there sometimes in the environment, in the vibration of receiving certain things. Okay. And also, a lot of people keep asking me this. In every video, in every binding video that I've done, or on my binding spell video, they ask me, can you bind someone who's left you? It's very hard to bind someone who's no longer there emotionally for you. It's best to bind someone when they're happy with you. And if you're in a relationship and you're happy and nothing is wrong, I'll just bind for safety, okay? Because after, you know, they break up with you, you can't go and bind them. It's too late. It's done. So remember that, okay? A lot of people keep asking me what to do with the spell work after. What to do with the spell work afterwards. Well, if it's a banishing spell, you want to get rid of it. So send it somewhere going away from your house. Someone said they flushed their stuff down the toilet. Send it out with the trash, whatever. If it's a love spell, you bury it so that the love grows. And so you just have to kind of use your common sense and think about stuff, because magic is also about common sense, you guys. You can't keep asking, you know, questions without thinking. Come on, you got to think. If you're banishing something away from you, you have to send it away from you. If you're trying to make something grow and increase, you need to bury it next to a tree in the ground so it can grow. You know, it can contribute to growth of something. So this is, you know, if you're going to do magic and study magic, you really need to study it, okay? Because you can't go around, you know, saying that you practice magic and doing all this and that, but you're not educated on it. Because if someone comes and asks you a question, you're not going to know the answer, and they're not going to take you seriously. They're going to be like, oh, well, she don't know anything, you know. So make sure while you're doing magic, you're also learning about it. And don't just ask people. Read. There are books out there, free books online, you know, PDFs. You have to educate yourself, because I can't stress it enough that, you know, if you're going to fully practice magic, you really have to know, you know, and think. It's not just about knowing and memorize, it's also about thinking. If you don't know the answer, think about it and think of the best way to, you know, do something. A lot of witches make up spells, okay? There's no right or wrong. It's the intention. It is what you mean by doing something. It's the symbolism, okay? So think about it before you ask people and ask people and ask people, because, you know, their method might be different than my method. And I have a lot of people asking me about the freezer spell. Well, I thought if you freeze something, you freeze something out. Freezing also makes something stand still as well, and binds it together at a standstill, you know. So you have to use your common sense when you think about things, okay? If you're freezing one person out and you're writing freeze out, that's the intention you have. If you're binding someone and you're writing two names on a paper and freezing it, you're freezing them together in that bind. Do you understand? And when you thaw out the ice from the binding spell, you're unbinding, okay? So you have to use your common sense. You can't just pick and choose what you want to learn and then be confused later because you didn't get everything that you needed to understand the spell, or how to write spells, or how to create spells. Okay, you have to study and learn. You can't just pick something up and start working with it. A lot of times, you know, you'll do a spell and it won't work. Why? Because you worded it wrong. Okay, a lot of times you'll do a spell on the wrong day. Why? Because the energy is wrong. You know, a lot of people ask me, do I work with the moon? I work with the days of the week mostly, and if there is a full moon, I will work with the full moon. I try not to work with moon phases because it limits, you know, what I can do and when I can do it, because most of the time I'm doing work, Santeria or hoodoo magic, and when you manifest with dark energy, you can do that at any time. So like a lot of hoodoo spells and Santeria spells, they don't go by the moon. So no, I don't go by the moon. That's more like traditional witchcraft or Wiccan. I don't go by the moon. Okay. So I'm just trying to answer a bunch of questions that I keep getting, and y'all know YouTube won't let me answer them back in the comments. So I'm just going to answer them here. How much time do I have left? Okay, so yes, another thing I get a lot of questions on is where do I buy my stuff? Okay, most of the stuff I can get from my local grocery store or Botanica that's in my area. If you don't have a Botanica in your area, you can order online. There's a lot of them online. If you search really good, you can find a cheap one. And some people make their own oils. You can make your own oils. Just research the herbs that are for certain things. Research the oils that are for certain things. Mix them together. Let them sit for 2 to 6 weeks. Shake them every day. And there's your oil. You have to use your common sense sometimes. You can't just ask, question after question. Oils for love. Herbs for herbs for love. Okay, mix them all together. There's your love oil. Okay, herbs for protection, oils for protection. Mix them all together. There's your protection oil. Okay, you can charge them on your altar with a protection crystal. You can put the intention in there for protection. You can light a candle, a black candle on top of the oil, and burn it for protection. You can make it up. It's up to you. Okay. So research, learn, study. Okay. The more you ask someone, the more information that you're getting that's not, that's going to confuse you. You're going to say, well, I thought this was for that. Well, if you read, you would know certain herbs are multi-purpose. Okay. So you can't just ask. You have to learn. Okay. That's the whole thing about being a witch, is to be knowledgeable. Witch means wise, right? If you're not wise and you don't know anything, then are you really a witch, or do you just practice magic? There's a difference, So yes, please. I don't know, like, people will ask me questions, and this is funny, and sometimes it's a life lesson. Okay, people will ask me questions, and I've said this so many times, and I don't even know the answer to it. But you know what I go and do? I go and Google it, and I write back what the answer is. And they say, oh my God, da, 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 da. Like, Google's there for you. Google's there for me. Google's there for anyone who is not too lazy to type in a few words and press search, So try to keep that in mind. It is best to do your own research. And also, when you're always asking for something, especially asking and asking and asking, this is also another reason people get into witchcraft, because they don't know how to create or get things for themselves, and they're always asking. So when you take charge of your life, when you take charge of your magic, when you take charge of your spiritual path, instead of asking people, you're going to get all the answers you want by researching, and people are going to actually start coming to you and asking you questions, because now you have all the answers, or you know how to get the answers. You know what I mean? So you kind of keep that in mind too. There's so many people out there who are very aware, enlightened, awake, and they don't take advantage of that gift by reading and researching. When you're awake and you're vibrating at a higher vibration, you absorb more faster. So whatever you learn is going to stay in there. You're going to be able to recite things. You're going to be able to remember things. You're going to be able to know things easier. You know what I mean? So that's why it's so important to study while you're, transitioning and going on your spiritual path and growing and things like that. Okay. Let's see, another question. I have 1 minute left. Okay. I don't know if, like, on every video, I don't put my email address, because I get bombarded with, people asking me to do the same type of thing over and over, which is usually bring back my ex. And let me tell y'all, like I said before, think about that really good before you cast a spell. Okay? I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.